why don't we talk about these ratings? AEW Dynamite and Rampage on TBS May 1st, 2024. Jim, Dynamite, on average, was watched by 703,000 viewers.
Oh, boy, howdy. That's worse than last week, isn't it? Or what? No, wait, last week was worse.
683. Last week was 683, yes. But the West Coast was live.
But the West Coast was live, so they should have gained 8%. So this is worse than last week with the West Coast being live, but it's definitely worse than week before last week. Holy shit. Okay, but what? Just start reading it off. I predict a steady plummet.
Well, let's go to these numbers here. These were compiled by WrestleNomics. Quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. The Tony Khan show opened to be interrupted by the Young Bucks. Swerve Strickland's live promo and his confrontation with Christian Cage and the Waynes and Killswitch. 794,000 viewers.
Okay, either the big bangers are not performing for them like they have in the past, or elsewise the Big Bang fans are getting smart to this and skipping the last couple of minutes of their program so they don't get any on them here.
And again, as some people will point out, competition. There were basketball games, baseball season has started.
They do that every year, don't they?
They do. The ratings aren't usually this low every year, so we're bringing it up this year.
Bring it up for quarter 2.
Quarter 2, 8:15 to 8:30 p.m. Adam Copeland versus Buddy Matthews with picture-in-picture. 693,000 viewers.
Oh, 101 Dalmatians.
Well, the match continued into quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m.
And what a dog.
Copeland versus Matthews continued with picture-in-picture ads, the post-match with the House of Black, and an ad break. Once again, 693,000 viewers.
Well, that's an accomplishment. They kept what they had. Not better, not worse. Come see, come saw.
Well, Kosi Kosa, let's go to the next quarter. It's a wonderful world, la 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 la. 8:45 to 9 p.m., quarter 4. Samoa Joe versus Isaiah Cassidy. Sky Blues promo, an ad break. The Trent Orange Cassidy live promo, end angle with Chris Statlander and Don Callis. 662,000 viewers.
Okay, well, and the only surprise is that they only lost 31,000 people, but I'm starting to look, they may do a comeback here at some point to get to their average at this juncture. What's the big 9 o'clock hour where we saw the Buckaroos again?
The big 9 o'clock hour, quarter 5, 9 to 9:15 p.m. The Young Bucks Jack Perry backstage promo and the start of Chris Jericho versus Katsuyori Shibata.
Shipoopy.
With picture-in-picture ads. 732,000 viewers.
Well, so at the top of the hour, maybe a fresh audience, people wanting to give them a chance, they picked up 36 to 70,000 people.
And if there was ever a match to say, what the fuck is happening, this may have been the match, because that was my reaction.
And I'm not sure they're going to keep them with that match.
Quarter 5, 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. The continuation of Jericho versus Shibata. The post-match with Big Bill. Willow Nightingale, Stokely Hathaway, and Chris Statlander's backstage promo. An ad break. And the start of Brian Cage versus Claudio Castagnoli. 746,000 viewers.
Holy shit, they picked up 14,000 for that segment. Is that an anomaly?
I think if you were flipping through the channels and you saw that Jericho Shibata match, you kind of wanted to see what the fuck it was. It was such a train wreck, you couldn't take your eyes off it.
There's a guy wandering around in the ring with a garbage can on his head. Let's see where this goes.
Is that Chris Jericho? Oh my God. I mean, there's so many different things. But then they ended the segment.
It used to be Jericho.
Well, they ended the segment with Brian Cage versus Claudio, which is the way quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 began, with picture-in-picture ads, an ad break, Rocky Romero's backstage promo, and the start of Serena Deeb versus Mariah May. 643,000 viewers.
Okay, so once the garbage can came off, 103,000 people left again. We're at the low point of the program.
You know, I think in this case, this is one of those weeks where the Jericho match helped, and it was Brian Cage versus Claudio that drove people off, but...
You may be right. I may be crazy, but it just might be a lunatic we're looking for.
Or booking for, I'm not sure. We go now to quarter 8. I remind you, there's an overrun and Rampage. Quarter 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m. The continuation of Deeb versus May with picture-in-picture. The post-match with Tony Storm. Adam Copeland and Kyle O'Reilly's backstage confrontation. And the start of Kenny Omega's live promo. 668,000 viewers.
So they got 25,000 back before the end of regulation, but they're again barely over 650,000.
And it was 292,000 in the key demo, which is just 2,000 off the low. Oh no, excuse me. The low of the show was 285. So it's just a little bit off the low of the show. So even the demo the network cares about, they're not there for these big angles at the end of the show, but it continued in the Rampage, Jim. Quarter 1 of Rampage, 10 to 10:15 p.m., which is the end of Dynamite. The continuation of the Omega Elite confrontation and backstage angle and
the best promo that Kenny Olivier has ever done in his wrestling career, unfortunately, in the middle of all of this.
Once again, 668,000 viewers, and the key demo went up from 292 to 326.
Wait a minute. How can there be no change whatsoever in the overall viewership, but suddenly 20-something thousand people in this fucking particular demo? There's more of them than there was a minute ago. And it was people over 55 at 10 o'clock. They had a hard bedtime. How does that work?
I'm not exactly sure, and for the record, here's the rest of Rampage, 10:15 to 10:30 p.m. Jay White versus Dante Martin, picture-in-picture. Bullet Club Gold post-match. Deonna Purrazzo promo. 459,000 viewers.
Ouch.
Next quarter, ad break. This is 10:30 to 10:45. Roosh did a promo. Big Bill and Chris Jericho backstage angle. Swerve Strickland backstage promo. Rocky Romero versus Kyle O'Reilly with picture-in-picture. 404,000 viewers. Then we get 10:45 to 11 p.m. Continuation of Romero versus O'Reilly. Soraya and Harley Cameron's backstage promo.
She's still there?
An ad break. The Undisputed Kingdom's backstage promo. And the start of the start of Willow Nightingale versus Sky Blue with picture-in-picture. 399,000 viewers. And finally, the 7-minute overrun.
They got an overrun for that?
Well, they got 7 minutes extra for Dynamite, so I guess that pushed it. I don't know how this worked or why they ever need an overrun. It's not helping them in any way. Nightingale versus Sky Blue continue with the post-match with Statlander and Stokely. 11 to 11:07 p.m. 408,000 viewers, 172,000 in the key demo.
So they went in 3 hours from 794,000 viewers to 408,000. They lost 50% of the audience over 3 hours in network prime time. How is that going to set them up for a ballbuster of a rights renewal when they get 3 hours of prime time on the network and they lose 50% of the audience from the start to the finish? I mean, just objectively explain that to me.
If you want to argue that it's worth it for a cable network or anyone because of the key demo number, you know, the argument when AEW started was stop looking at the total overall audience, only look at the key demo because that's the only number at all that the network cares about because it's what the advertisers care about, which has always been a stupid argument if you know anyone who works in television. There's a lot more that goes into it. And the big number keeps going down. The key demo, even that's going down now.
Okay, what was the key demo in quarter 1 and what was the key demo in the overrun at quarter 13 or whatever?
Quarter 1 was 320. Quarter 2, which is sometimes the real true number, 307. Here's the entirety of Rampage, starting with the overrun. 326. 203, 180, 177, 172.
So they started at 320 and ended at 172. That they've lost fucking half of that too. Right?
They can't hold an audience. And you see the SmackDown numbers, it's crazy how consistent it is from beginning to end. Raw is a different animal. Raw is probably the better thing to compare Dynamite to just because of cable, and even though Raw's 3 hours.
But still, it's a 3-hour program where we figured out what they lose. If they lose 300,000 viewers, that is maybe 10 or 12% of their audience, whereas in AEW's case, it's 35 or 40.
If you want to give AEW a chance, and you keep giving it a chance every little while, the booking never gets better. If right now they're counting on the fact that they have a bunch of guys who they're going to be able to bring back on this show, return to the roster, get healthy, they're still going to run into Tony's booking. And Tony can't acknowledge that his booking isn't good. Tony truly thinks he understands this. Tony thinks that he has a deep understanding of how wrestling works. And he doesn't. He's a fan who has lots of his dad's money. And it's okay to say that. It's not an insult. It's reality. He thinks he can book, he can't.
And many of the wrestlers that he has signed up are fans who think they have good ideas.
Everyone wants to do their own thing, and nothing seems to get better. At a certain point, you look at your business. If everything is going down, pay-per-views going down, ratings going down, live attendance going down, every town they return to, the attendance is down. Nothing is going up. Guys get over, they lose their steam immediately. At a certain point, you got to acknowledge what the problem is.
We'll always have Wembley, though, won't we?
Well, we're going to have it again in a few months, and we'll see how it looks. Texas Stadium 85. And then next year will be Texas Stadium 86. Let's see how many people are there. The problem with AEW, everything is the law of diminishing returns. Always.
We just try to point these things out. We don't revel in it. We don't glory in it. We don't roll around and root around in it like a hog in slop. We just report the facts, and that's why they get mad at us. Because their emperor is not wearing a jock strap, and their favorite wrestlers aren't any fucking good.